Some computer parts are getting more and more expensive, especially the GPU and the RAM. So this brings up a question. What can you build with just $1,000 in 2018? This is my gaming computer setup. I call it Maxwell. Let me introduce it to you. I have 250 gigabytes of Samsung EVO SSD, and I have 2 terabytes of Seagate hard drive. At the core of the build, the motherboard I'm using is Gigabyte AB350M Gaming 3, and the case I'm using is the mini tower from InWin 301. For the power supply unit, I have a 600 watts 80 plus Brown semi-modular unit from EVGA. Peripheral wise, you really can use anything you want. As you can see, these are my peripheral. The speaker and the mouse is not included in the $1,000 price tag. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are present. For speaker, I'm using the Bose SoundLink Mini 2. And the keyboard is from Logitech. It's its G610 Orion Red. It's got a Cherry MX red switch and it feels really good. Powering the gaming sweetness is this ASUS GPU GTX 1060 6GB OC. With the AMD Ryzen 5 1600 and 8GB of DDR4 RAM, your gaming needs are taken care of. For gaming monitor, I'm using the ASUS 24-inch MG248QR with the beautiful 144Hz refresh rate. As you can see, there are many modes for your needs. The mouse I'm using is Logitech G900 with RGB. The price is not included. So here comes the big question. How does it game? Jumping into Fallout 4, one of my all-time favorite games, you can see the frame rate is well above 60 FPS. In this scene, no spoilers, it is really smooth. And this game has a lock FPS of 72 FPS for my system, therefore the max it can hit is 72 FPS. Moving on to other places, you can see the frame rate is still really smooth. Walking in Concord, the graphics is beautiful. It's running on 1080p ultra settings, and you can see it's so much smoother than 30 FPS. Moving on to some lighter titles like Rocket League, it's running at 1080p max settings. And how will it run? This map is called Aquadome. It is one of the most intensive maps in the game. I'm running at 4v4. And as you can see, the frame rate is really smooth. It's not a certain 144 FPS lock, but it's there. And if you see in real life, on this monitor, it's really silky smooth. Another lightweight title is Team Fortress 2. In the waiting lobby, this is running at 1080p almost max settings. In the waiting lobby, it is 144 FPS, no problem. As you can see, my system can handle lighter titles pretty well. Even in battle scenes, although it dipped below 100 FPS, it is still really smooth. Hop over to PlayerUnknown's Battleground. It's also a flying human simulator. As you can see, this is running at 1080p high settings all around. This is not the easiest game to run in the world, but my system can handle it very well. You can see it's well above 60 FPS, and you can see even flying through the sky, it remains at a high frame rate. Actually, falling down into the building, scavenging, firing, and finally getting your chicken dinner is really smooth. It always keeps above 60 FPS. As you can see, my computer can handle heavier titles pretty well as well. Moving on to GTA 5. What a beautiful game. This is running at 1080p, very high to ultra settings. The world looks stunning, and the frame rate is definitely no slouch. Let's go on a test drive. Let's go on a test drive in the mountain area and see how the frame rate does. Now the reason why I go on a test drive is because when you're moving fast, your game needs to run the game faster. It needs to load a lot more textures. Therefore, the frame rate will dip. You can see, moving on to some heavier places, the FPS will dip below 60, but it's still really smooth and really playable, and it's very smooth. Going through the mountain area of the beautiful Los Santos, you can see it is definitely very enjoyable. Fortnite has really taken the gaming industry by storm. Moving on to Fortnite, we can see we're running at 1080p epic setting, which is the highest setting in the game. And I'm running well above 80 FPS, even in heavier scenes. In gun battles, scavenging, it's gonna be well above 60 FPS. As you can see, my system can handle players' interactions and the environment no problem. Mind you, this is running at max settings and the world is looking really pretty. Moving on to Airbus, it's still really smooth. Finally, going into the world, you can see our system can handle this no problem. Our CPU isn't even cooked high, and the FPS is well above 80 FPS. Before we end the video, I do have a disclaimer to make. I bought all my components in Black Friday, which was really cheap, but I'll still put the prices in the description below and you can check them out. So, there we have it. My gaming setup for $1,000. Link in the description below to check out the parts. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.